talk about. I think that it is going to be quite an interesting video. I just want to make sure that, I guess stream is the right word. I just want to make sure that everything's working, so I'll sound check. I guess stream is the right word. I just want to make sure that everything's working, so I'll sound check. Sweet. So the stream is up and it is working. The sound is working. It seems to all be going well. So I guess let's just get into it and get into what I'm thinking of looking at. So I'm just getting it all organized. I guess while we're waiting for people to come in. So I know that it's Mother's Day and I know a lot of people won't watch this, but I've tried making a video about this and I honestly just feel like a live reaction would be better to this situation. It's very, very interesting. So we've got the house kind of situation going on in Australia, and a lot of us, I just realized that this might not be titled correctly. Let me just make sure that that's fixed up. Yeah, it's not titled correctly. Let me just fix everything up here. We're just getting it set up and we're going to make sure that it's all fixed. While I'm waiting for some people to come in. Gosh. Video producer. Sorry, I'm just fixing up my whole thing right now. Let me just see. Manage. Gosh, how do I change a thing? Here we go. So I feel like the Greens are definitely pro-liberal. Let's look. Australian. What if I put in the Greens? Let's see. The Greens. We've tagged it with the Greens. Let's talk about the Greens, guys. Let's talk about the Greens. And I'll fix up the YouTube title too. Gosh, how do I fix up the YouTube title? Do we go straight to YouTube? YouTube Lives. Okay. Can I edit this? So, YouTube, let's talk about the Greens. Hopefully, this fixes up the YouTube thing. What are the errors? Let's see. Maybe I can change it through my program. Or I'll come back in a second, either way. Let's edit. No, that's not it. Edit settings. So, no. Let's talk. Sorry about all the troubleshooting, guys. I am just getting this set up. Let's see if that fixes that. Sweet, so that's fixed that. And that has fixed that. So, without further ado, we are set in stone. We are ready for whatever comes at us. So basically this situation is very interesting because a lot of people have always thought the Greens were pro-Labour and pro-people and pro-Earth, and, you know, basically people thought that they were like the hippies of politics. And recently there's been a lot of people who have been talking about the Greens and how they are not the hippies of politics. No, sorry. They are known to be the people who are trying to get seats, and so from what it sounds like, they've been pandering to the Liberal Party for years. There's so many videos, so I won't go too depthful into that, but there's so many people talking about that online. Now, recently a video has surfaced. There's been versions of it on Twitter. There's been people, like this person has been standing out publicly talking and doing the same speech in public, and he also does it in the actual house as well. So I think that it's really important to be aware that he may be being scripted and he's like this social media thing. Like, politics in Australia have recently realized that social media works, especially if you look between what's happened with Friendly Geordies and John Barilaro, Gladys Berejiklian. Like, there's been a lot of social media interaction with politics recently, and this guy is getting a little bit of traction. So I think that it's quite interesting. So let's have a look at that, guys. Let's have a look at that. So we've got obviously all of these politicians and all that. We're all just in this building. Yeah. So let's start watching.
What sort of government is it that can't guarantee a cent, a single cent for public and affordable housing, but can guarantee $254 billion for everyone in this place to get $9,000 extra a year on tax? They can guarantee $41 billion for fossil fuel subsidies. They can guarantee $16 billion in tax concessions for property investors, but they can't guarantee a cent for public and affordable housing in the middle of the...
So immediately you can see he's using body language where it's very much, he's very much like this and this, and he's like getting like pumped up, and he's got body language that's kind of showing that he is indeed trying to push this agenda emotionally. I feel like that he's physically showing emotion, and he's pulling at facts that will hit people's heartstrings. So, yeah.
The worst housing crisis we have seen in generations. A Labor member over there just before told me to grow up. Grow up.
Yeah, see, emotions.
And if you think that your strategy is to tell everyone in this country it's immature to think that in one of the wealthiest countries in the world we can't put a roof over everyone's head, if you think it's a strategy to call people immature,
as far as I know,
you think it's wrong that you're raising more money
like,
from charging interest on student debt than you are from raising taxes on gas corporations, if you think it's a good strategy to tell everyone in this country that it's immature to expect that while politicians...
Wait. Let's backtrack. So, like, the Liberal Party caused a lot of issues that he's talking about. Like, we keep seeing a cycle where there's a lot of the Liberal Party in power for a big amount of time, and then the Labour Party gets a short period of time to correct their mistakes, and the media, like all of the media productions, hound on the Liberal Party, because the Liberal Party, they don't hound on the Liberal Party, they hound on the Labour Party. So they're always like so cautious and so like minimal towards the Liberal Party, but when the Labour Party's in power, the media are like nipping at their ankles. What about this? What about that? And these will already have been issues with the Liberal Party that the Liberal Party caused, right? But when the Labour Party is here to correct their messes, there's like this whole argument of, well, why aren't these things being done? You've got to give them time. Like, realistically, Rome wasn't built in a day, dude.
In this place are about to get a $9,000 extra a year off on their tax. We think no one in this country should be forced to live on poverty payments. How dare you? People are like, what? That's like more than I earn in several months. What the fuck? You know? Heartstrings. How dare you? And the strategy that you resort to is lying to the Australian public.
Like,
now,
this whole thing is like, there's no facts or substance to it. It's just like emotional thing here, emotional thing there. Try and get the people on your side with emotions. Like that's literally what's going on here.
Watching at home, here's the strategy that they're deploying. Here's the strategy they're deploying.
The strategy you're deploying is like trying to use people's emotions. They're not trying to crush anybody's hope. They haven't had time, dude. But like you're like getting them to use their emotions, and it's just disingenuous.
They are trying to crush your hope. What they are trying to do to you right now is to say this is all you can hope for. And if you hope for anything else, and if anyone comes out and says, you know what, when you can find $4.2 billion for a surplus, maybe we should be spending $5 billion a year on public and affordable housing, you'll get attacked for it. They are trying...
But like, you can't just spend all of the money on one thing. Like, that's unrealistic, because it's got to be a balancing act. Like, he's throwing in numbers here, and the common person won't actually understand what that's about, you know?
Trying to bash you down until there is nothing left for you to hope for. But you know what? The reality is that the reason they're doing it is not for technical or policy reasons. There's not actually any reason we couldn't tax big corporations and make sure we build enough public and affordable housing in this country.
I mean, we could tax them, don't get me wrong, like, I'm all for taxing them, but the thing is that that's not, like, everything you've said is emotional. There's no actual evidence in this. There's no actual statistics, except for like the ones that you throw in to sort of empathize with, or get people to empathize with your argument, I should say. And it's just very, very interesting to see.
Construction industries in decline. We could be using those skills and construction materials to build public and affordable housing. We could be freezing rent increases. Freezing
rent increases won't help. Part of the reason why we're in this big mess with the housing crisis is because we had to freeze rental prices. Like, people, I am fully supportive of like a cap, like that they shouldn't be able to increase. But what is going on right now is because we froze rental prices, a lot of landlords are raising their prices to try and make back that money. And then we've got people who had their rental prices in like pretty much like in, like, what I'm trying to say is there's people who their prices got too extravagant, so they've had to move to lower paid prices, Recession is on the way. That's true, but it's about closing loopholes. Yes, we should close loopholes, but like, he's not saying that. That's the thing. Close loopholes on tax. Sure, yeah, definitely. I agree with that. The reason we have a housing crisis is leverage. I mean, yeah, but like, there is the fact that a lot of people did raise their rental prices because of the fact that, like, I know in Victoria where I live, we had like this big rental freeze, and then people weren't paying rents, and then people are in debt because they still have to pay it back. But not only that, you've got the fact that people are raising their rents because they wanted to make extra money back. It's like there's a lot of exploitation in it. And I don't think rental freezing is a great idea. I think that we're better off having a rental cap so that certain properties can't be raised. Because there's really terrible properties out there. They're getting raised. Like, I saw, believe it or not, I saw on, because I look at realestate.com all the time, I saw there was a property on there for $3,000 per week. I was so shocked. I actually believe Purple Monkeys, I think his name is, or Purple Pingers or something, on TikTok, he made a video on it too. The place had a $12,000 bond. And at first I was like, is that extra zeros? But no, they were being serious, and it ended up getting taken down. Yeah, and it is greater than this topic. But yeah, there's like so much going on. There's so much going on. It's not just a black and white thing, and rental freezing won't just, you know, it's a Ponzi scheme. You're just a late ticket holder in the Ponzi. The whole thing is like, it's kind of, the whole thing's fucked, but yeah.
That countries around the world have done and Australia has done before. We could do that, but the reason they don't want to do it is because really they're on the side of the banks and property developers who make enormous profits in this country.
See, this is like a jump. Like, how did he get from A to B? He's like trying to sound educational, right? But like, he's doing emotional things, throwing in a bunch of random pieces of information that don't actually have much to do with each other. And then he's going and doing, like, he's trying to get people to, you know, get into it. Like, he's trying to get people on his side, essentially, emotionally. Buy assets, money is worthless as it's a decline in value. I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like a lot of people my generation don't really see the value in money anymore. Like, we don't care as much about money because, like, when a lot of us are most likely never gonna own a house. Most of us are never going to, like, you know, own a business. Like, we don't, like, there isn't much hope, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's the Labour Party who have done that at all. I would actually say that it was definitely the Liberal Party that made us feel fucked over, you know?
The deal. In this budget, they're guaranteeing money for property developers and tax concessions to build apartments that, when Mirvac built them, Mirvac, by the way, the outgoing CEO...
Like, so he's not confirming that these people, like, he's just saying random things to try and get people to be on his side without any information, you know?
CEO of Mirvac, if you're wondering, is also the person they're appointing ahead of their National Supply and Affordability Council. What a sick joke. Anyway, they charge for those apartments 20% above market rent. Above market rent.
Okay, above market rent, cool, but like, where's the context around that? Like, you're saying that it is something that it could be, but there's no actual context around it. There's no substance to this conversation. As if it wasn't both the major parties that have got us in this mess. I mean, like, sure, there are members of Labour who have done their fair share too. I'm not disagreeing. But the Greens certainly are no better. In fact, they're probably... I would rather Labour out of the parties. Fusion is interesting too. They seem like very interesting. I was thinking of looking at that at one point too for you guys.
Market rent. Well, guess what? No one in this country is going to take that for much longer. And if you think your strategy is to yell and abuse and attack anyone who asks for more, if your strategy is that, and listen to that, you've got another thing coming, because there's enough people in this country now who are screwed over by a political system that snarls and attacks anyone who asks for more. While we've
But like the thing is, he's saying this, right? But the party he represents has been known to support the Liberal Party. Like, that's the thing. So it's like all completely just ridiculous.
Just seen the banks record tens of billions of dollars in profit. If anyone thinks that's normal, and if you're going to go around and call the Greens radicals for suggesting that in a wealthy country like this, the fact that the banks are making billions of dollars in profit while the government can't guarantee a cent for public and affordable housing is moderate, you've got an absolute another thing coming. The only radicals in this place are the ones who think doing that is sustainable. The
thing is though, like, we had an election earlier this year in my area, right? And basically this guy, right? This guy here, he was going on about this stuff, right? But then we've got the fact that Greens were promising things that they can't even do. They were promising rent freezes. They were promising a whole heap of stuff. But it was stuff that they don't even have the ability to do, you know? It was just ridiculousness. And people my age were smarter than that. Like, we know how to use Google.
Radicals in this place are the ones who think that it's okay to give yourselves $9,000 extra a year off on your tax, while telling people they have to live
it's
on
another
$52
heartstrings
a day.
thing. He's just trying to get people in who are emotional. Like he's like, these Centrelink people are living on $52 a day, right? But the Centrelink people, a lot of the time, like, they're not well off anyway. But that's bringing another topic into this thing, and it's creating a mess. Rather than having actual, like, statistics and actual evidence and whatever is, like, beneficial, he's going around bringing in all these different little comments, all these different little emotions, and bringing it into his debate to try and get everybody on side without actually having a proper substance. It's like you go to a restaurant, they give you like little taste tests, but you don't get an actual meal.
What a sick joke. And it's remarkable that, and good to hear that people are bringing up door knocking, because maybe I'll finish with this. We had someone come into our office, a woman who had just had her rent jacked up by $120 a week. $120 a week. And
yeah, so that has happened to a lot of people, and that's why I'm thinking rental caps would be a better alternative to rental freezing. Like, it's just to the point where I know that I can't pay for a place by myself, and I work full time.
And this person is on Centrelink payments, unemployed long term because of a debilitating heart condition, but unable to get on DSP. After rent, bills and food, he literally did not have the money to pay the $70 train trip to get home.
It's interesting that he says that. Like, okay, so I have a heart condition, right? And I was recommended to get onto DSPT. Like I was recommended to get disability payments for my heart condition, and this was Centrelink telling me to go for it, that I was eligible and everything. I chose not to. I chose to go out into the workforce because I felt completely like I was fine. Like, sometimes I'll have issues, but like what I'm saying is that the fact that he mentions that, just as a comparison towards someone like me, I don't know his circumstances. But I feel like when it comes to your cardiac stuff, they're actually pretty on top of it when, well, that's just my experience, but yeah.
Home to be with her. When my team told him we'd transfer him $100 immediately so he could book the ticket straight away and buy some food for the trip, he broke down weeping.
I actually, like, I'm gonna point this out too, like, it is actually a good idea if you've got a situation going on to call your local politicians. They can actually help. Like, for instance, if you have a situation, like, I live in Victoria, I had a situation with my payments, right? Because we went into a 2-week lockdown, and for some reason they said that I couldn't get paid, and I was shocked. I was like actually quite distraught because I was like, how am I going to pay for food, rent, like any of this stuff? And I called my local politicians thing as a suggestion from my friend, and basically, yeah, like they did actually help get it sorted. They, like, so if you're in a situation where you need money or you need food, sometimes it is a good idea to go and talk to the politicians, and they may be able to help link you up with a way, because at the end of the day, like, they are there to help the community, you know?
Weeping. He spent 2 full days desperately pleading with Centrelink to give him an urgent payment.
Centrelink can be like assholes.
And you think that it's good enough to give yourselves tax cuts?
Like, I don't think this guy's actually crying. I'm not, like, but if he is, like, I don't know. It doesn't feel genuine.
Oh, this is happening to people in this country. How dare you?
But yeah, like, it's very interesting to see all this. It's definitely an emotional attack on the policies. I was also looking at this, which so I linked that to my boyfriend. I was like, have you seen this? And he linked me this. Now, Penny Wong, I have met personally. She used to come, whenever she was in Melbourne, she'd come to the salon that I was working at when I first started my apprenticeship. And she was nothing but kind. I'm just gonna say that. Anything we spoke about is... She was so nice, though. She was so nice. But I thought this was very interesting, like, because my partner sent me this. So let's have a look at this.
We know that what has been happening in this chamber this week is that the partnership between the Greens and the Liberal Party of Australia...
I'd be very curious, like, why don't you like her? Like, what... Why do you feel like she's the devil? She bullied a woman to death. Who did she bully? Wait, I never heard of that. But maybe I was too busy with work. So if you guys on YouTube are wondering, my Twitch chat is not working for whatever reason. But, so what happened? I'm so curious now. Let me just have a little Google before we watch this, because I'm very, very curious. Penny. Let's see. Penny Wong bullied woman. I guess. Oh. Oh, that... Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this so people can have a genuine thing.
Welcome back. Breaking news at 9 a.m. Penny Wong has denied claims she and other Labor Party members bullied Kimberley Kitching in the lead-up to her death. Senator Wong spoke about the comments she made about Ms. Kitching's lack of children in...
Like, are they implying that she endgamed herself, or, like...
An exclusive interview with Nine political editor Chris Ullman live on Weekend Today.
Because I think this happened when I was, like, Like, I took a break from looking at this stuff because I got so depressed and burnt out after COVID, and, you know.
What I said was insensitive. You know, I regret it. And I apologised as I should. When I became aware that she, how she felt about it.
Because it became public.
Because she
that you had said it.
Because she never raised it with me.
Opposition leader Anthony Albanese is resisting calls to launch an inquiry into the allegations. Kimberly Kitching will be farewelled at a funeral in Melbourne tomorrow.
So how did she actually die? Like, look at her affected facial expressions. So you don't like Penny. See, like, I have a different perspective of her, but that's because she was a client. It's like Alan Trudge, for instance. Like, he helped me out once, but, like, he's a Liberal Party member. Like, what I know about politicians, okay, I've got a story, and I don't know if I should say this, but, during my time as a hairdresser, and I've worked at 8 salons, so you don't know what salon this was at, you don't know what place this was, you don't know who this was, but a lady who was a politician who came into my salon that is not Penny one, she was talking to me about John Barilaro once, and John Barilaro is apparently very, very strange. Like, apparently there's a lot of really weird stuff that is very, very interesting. Like, he has a reputation of being a weirdo in that way, if you get me. If you get me. Now, this is all allegedly because I've heard it through the grapevine, but let's just say there's something very bizarre about John Barilaro in that way. Winky face. So I know who used to cut her hair. I don't know if he still cuts her hair, but I feel like her hair has been the same. Let's see if we can find a video of when she was like, gosh, this would have been like 2015. So Penny won 2015. Let's see. So let's have a look. Let's look at this haircut. Let's see if it was better. So this is like the old haircut she used to get. Let's see if we can get a better angle, like, of her hair up. Okay, that's pixelated, but yeah. So that's what she used to get. But, like, I didn't realize there was a controversy about her. Yeah, she actually, like, I don't think did we used to do, like, hairline foils? Maybe? I'm not sure. But, like, I can't remember, it was so long ago. The thing is that, like, I never even knew that you guys, didn't like her. Wow. It's very interesting. Oh, I was gonna look up this guy. So I think it's under here. I should show you guys this. Is it the Fusion Party? So I found out there's a person that is I've got to show you this. I found this out, okay? You're gonna laugh at how they look, right? But I found out that we have a politician with colourful hair, guys. Let's have a look at this.
My vision is for Aston to be astonishing. We have world-class universities and we're surrounded by beautiful landscape, yet our economy has been focused on digging things out of the ground and serving avocado toast to each other. The squandering of opportunities has coincided with a brain drain from Australia, and just like so many industries, there's now a shortage of engineering skills, which is hampering our progress in rescuing the climate.
So do you guys know about this guy, Owen Miller, at all? Like, have you seen him before? He's very, very interesting. Like, I believe, I've seen a few of these videos because I don't know if you guys know, but I travel around a lot. And sometimes I get local ads for, like, different elections because sometimes politicians are quitting all through the year. And I'll be at a spot, right? So I'll be at school, or I'll be going to see family, or I'll be going to work. Like, or I'll be going to my partner's, and I'll get different ads after I've stayed at a place for a while or been there regularly for a while. I'll get ads for those areas, and this is one of those ads. This guy had an ad.
The innovations in our society are not being applied to actually improving our way of life. Instead, they're being applied to squeezing us, lying to us, and keeping us distracted from what's really happening in the world. Sure, we might have our ideological differences, but something we can agree on is that the powerful forces guiding our society do not have our best interests at heart. They are interested in hoarding their riches, in preserving their cushy jobs, or hiding their guilt, something other than ensuring the well-being of humanity and our ecology. The Victorian government runs a forestry company that profits from chopping down native forests, turning the wood into wood chip, pulp and pallets. This insane conflict of interest is undermining the habitat of our native animals, when urban sprawl, the solution to the housing crisis, was already putting them at enough danger. The Liberal and Labor governments continue to subsidise fossil fuels. They continue to greenlight new projects, just business as usual, despite the repeated...
I feel like I recognize this place that he's in. Like, I recognize this place. But I'm not sure if it's just like all Greenland, wetlands look the same. Maybe it's not actually. The other side of the river doesn't look the same as the place that I'm thinking.
claims that the Labor Party would be different. The transition of electricity is only happening at half the rate necessary to reach the promised, underwhelming goal of net zero by 2050. As people try to hasten their own reduction, they turn to the economy of carbon credits, which is rampant with financial trickery. In California, for instance, people received credits for not chopping down trees, but then the trees burnt in a forest fire and people could still trade the credits after the fire. When people think of what's ahead, it's not just a climate crisis, but killer AIs who might destroy the planet in order to maximize the production of paperclips. Suppose we have an AI whose only goal is to make as many paperclips as possible. The AI will realize quickly that it would be much better if there were no humans, because humans might decide to switch it off. Because if humans do so, there would be fewer paperclips. Also, human bodies contain a lot of atoms that could be made into paperclips.
Okay.
Rather than looking to the AIs though, consider what we already have: soulless companies and governments whose pursuit of GDP growth is actively killing life on our planet. The solution to this incomplete accounting system is apparently to double down and add another accounting system to the model. This is to say nothing of how the pursuit of GDP growth is undermining our mental health and the effectiveness of our institutions. Imagine if, instead of just GDP, we also tracked our happiness score, the same as New Zealand is already doing. Our lives are lived online, and we're...
So that sort of sounds like a Black Mirror episode I saw. But like, what are you guys thinking so far of him? Like, do you find it interesting? Like, cause like I've been looking at him, but he hasn't made much. Like, I haven't seen much since, I don't believe. Like, if we look at the channel, I don't see much of this Owen Miller's guy. But I believe... does he have his own YouTube? I believe he has a YouTube. Let's have a look. Let's see. Owen Miller. I guess Fusion. So we get the right one. Maybe he doesn't have his own thing. Like, have a look at this.
We had a great time at Knox Tavern the other night.
Where were the others? Where were the other candidates? They say that they're locals. I don't see them there.
Going to get home safe. I think it's really tricky, especially with cost of living. We can't really expect everyone to afford Ubers home.
Well, I guess as well, can they even afford a home when they get the Uber home? Homelessness centres are closing down. Look at the Liberal Party and Labor Party, what they say are their values versus what actually happens. You look at the charts of...
I bet this guy uses one of the big four banks that still fund epic amounts of land clearing. His shirt is pretty cool. I do like his shirt.
Over the past few years, it's just insane how much it goes up.
But he's so interesting, like, don't you think? Because he's different.
And they'll behave as investments. People will refuse to settle at a loss. They'll keep buying more houses than they actually need. And that has the effect of just driving house price ownership higher and higher. You see in Silicon Valley, for instance, all this money that's being created, how much of that was thanks to real estate? Most of the money that comes out of Silicon Valley is from investing in companies, in ideas.
I think I know this place too. I think I know where he is.
That has valued innovation.
I haven't seen this place in years.
The mechanized shears. Innovation is something that Australia values, and it's something that still exists in Australia. We don't need to just invest in houses, exploiting each other.
We have many
I'm not sure if he's anti-big banks. Let me just... I think he's got a webpage. Let me have a look. Owen Miller Fusion Party. I'm pretty sure there was a webpage for him. Let's see. So, like, it's got this kind of stuff. So it's going on about, like, can I put this in as a link down in here? I'll try and paste it as a link so you guys can have a look yourselves as well. I don't know if it'll, like, count, but there's, like, we've got a few things here that we're looking at, but he's, like, obviously going for, like, the futuristic stuff with the imagery, right? And then he's got, like, all of this other stuff that he's talking about. Like, I believe that he was all pro-environment, and I don't know if anything about banks were included. Let's go have a look at policy overview. So, climate emergency, future focused, education for life, ethical governance, like, fair, inclusive society, individual freedoms. Like, I feel like that he was, like, when me and my partner looked at this, because we were curious about him, I feel like that this kind of, I don't know, it seemed like it was actually not bad stuff he was going for, but I don't remember anything about banks, if that helps. Let me just go back to...
From Australia that we should be proud of, and we take for granted penicillin.
Ooh, even preferential voting. That got started in Australia, amongst other places.
CSIRO invented Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi wasn't really commercialised by the CSIRO. They only made money out of it by having to sue the people who didn't pay them royalties originally. Ever since the dot-com boom, Australian innovations are happening overseas. Australian universities are having enough people graduate But then many Australians, including myself, have to go overseas where we can more fully explore our career potential. If all these people are studying in Australia, we have the skills, why aren't we making better use of it? Our online life now is dictated to us by American tech giants. Your freedom of...
the economics that he talks about, like, I think that it sounds like he's not quite, but he's interested in socialism in a way where he feels like that we're heading to a way where the world is like going to have more and more issues, and he feels like the people should have a certain amount of income. But it's very messy, but there's a lot of interesting stuff that he says, if that makes sense. Like, it's very much like he's if you guys on YouTube are wondering, somebody asked me on Twitch, that's all good, just wondering because he's talking about economics. Like, I feel like that these videos were more ads for the Fusion Party rather than, like, it's like the other guy in a way, which might be hypocritical of me talking about, but it seems like he's bringing up a lot of issues that are coming into one conversation.
Of speech is decided in California. It's not decided in Canberra. If the public commons is being decided by Elon Musk and others in America, Australia is becoming a vassal state of the United States.
We have promises like...
Hey, you know who he kind of reminds me of, actually? Like, I just realized... I'm just going to show you who he reminds me of. Good old Milo. Like, think about it. Milo was very interesting. Let me just see if I can find it. Like, sorry, I just clicked off.
Because I know gay people who do show up to work. Okay, but yes, but that is the reality. Right, you work for Breitbart and you're a Trump supporter.
Well, trying to get him to
well, it's interesting that the radical gay editorials, you know, saying interesting,
like, do you guys see it? Like,
being published by Breitbart, and I don't think really that you can call Trump a traditional conservative. He's not that Republican.
No.
Like, do you guys see it? Do you guys see, like, him, and then...
Is that the optimal objective? Because, for instance, if we lowered the minimum wage, that could generate more jobs, exploiting each other.
I don't think we should be focusing on short-term economic gain.
You see how quickly the robot moves between, you know, welding the doors on the car, that sort of thing. If we lowered the minimum wage, then spending the money creating robotics would be less financially appealing, and we would create more jobs because we would have, you know, the welder, person smashing the metal into the flat shape, that sort of thing.
I don't think we really want the promise of employment so much, because we do have the concept of wage slaves, and I don't think that's what people are looking for. What satisfaction do jobs provide? They provide the ability to contribute back to a community. No one wants to be caught in a hamster race to pay their bills.
Like, it's almost satirical.
Unaffordable rentals.
The focus of the Fusion Party isn't so much on growing the economy by changing this tax rate or whatever, is making better use of the skills of Australians.
We want economic prosperity in Australia. We want to support more Australian development and inventions.
If Australia's economy stays dependent on digging these materials out of the ground, then we're at risk. As soon as there's any sort of technological shift or societal shift, then what is Australia supposed to do?
We have Owen Miller.
Hi, I'm the candidate for Aston. You'll have the chance to vote for us on the 1st of April.
Authorised.
So that's why I recognize those places. Like, I grew up in that area. Like, I was like, why do I recognize every place here? But yeah, like, the dude was like, the dude is like very interesting, you know? Like, I don't know if their party is very viable, but it's a very interesting party to look at. Have they done anything since? Like, Oh, that was this was only a month ago. I wonder why they don't make regular videos, because like they're very interesting. Like I think people, whether for or against them, they'd be interested in what they're saying. I wonder like why a lot of these people, they're just, I don't know. Oh, that reminds me. Speaking of, somebody told me, because I think Alan Tudge, I heard a rumor that, is it Alan Tudge or Alan Tudge? Tudge? I heard a rumor about his resignation from one of my clients. So let's have a look at this.
Just grab a glass of water, please.
Which I imagine is why those other videos surfaced.
Sorry, just bear with me for a second. Well, I think you know what was coming. In terms of just thank you. Sorry, just take a breath. Finally, thanking my family.
That's ironic.
I've got water everywhere now.
I've got water everywhere now. Oh.
I'd like to inform the House that I'll be resigning from Parliament effective from next week. I informed the Prime Minister and the Speaker of my decision earlier today, and the Leader of the Opposition has known of my likely intent since early January, when my decision was cemented following the passing of my father. It's not been an easy decision for me, but it is necessary for my health and for my family, amongst other reasons. I certainly have not taken this decision lightly. My daughters, who are 18 and 16, know nothing other than their dad being away. They've had to put up with things that no teenager should have to, including death threats, the most recent of which was last week.
That's not nice.
My son is a bit younger, but I equally want to be a good father to him. My passion has always been social policy, rather.
That's not what I heard happened on the grapevine. I heard somebody did a little hanky-panky with another lady.
Than economic or security policy, the traditional liberal focal areas. I've always believed that while the economy is the foundation of our society, the social policies determine whether individuals are given the opportunity and responsibility to realise their potential. And both of these things are required, opportunity and responsibility. My greatest passion, though, was and is in education. I would have loved more time leading that portfolio, but I know that many of our initiatives are being supported by the Albanese government.
I feel like that.
I don't expect.
I feel like this is just like a generic speech thing. But did he cheat on his wife? Let's see. 7 News is all about the drama.
Smiling as he walked in, but not as he broke the news.
I'm sorry, just bear with me for a second.
A case for him leaving, compelling and expected.
It's not been an easy decision
Expected.
for me, but it is necessary for my health and for my family.
His reputation shredded by
like I literally heard it
affair with Rochelle Miller, his former press secretary.
He was furious, telling me to get out of his bed.
His daughters, 18 and 16, targeted online, he says, horribly.
They've had to put up with things that no teenager should have to, including death threats.
And he facing the likelihood of heavy criticism from the ongoing Royal Commission for his role in the Morrison government's robo-debt scandal.
What was without a doubt
Oh my God, robo-debt.
the biggest administrative breach of the law by a government in the history of our country.
Many Liberal hopefuls will line up for the by-election forced by Alan Tudge's resignation, but former Treasurer Josh Frydenberg told 7 News today he won't be one of them. Aston is on Melbourne's eastern outskirts. Alan Tudge suffered an 11.6% swing against him last year, clinging on by 2.8. The by-election, the first real test for opposition leader Peter Dutton.
We extend every best wish to Alan Tudge in the years ahead.
I respect the decision that he has made.
Member for Aston.
I think the House.
You guys love when, like, politicians are in drama, by the way. Like, I don't know why, but I just find it so hilarious. Like, it's all just a huge circus these days, isn't it? ScoMo's mate, good riddance. Oh my gosh. Gosh. Like, it's just so funny. Let me just have a look at... Oh, what was her name? Do you guys remember, in the chat, do you guys remember she was like at a club and was racist? Maybe I'll just look that up. Politician, drunk, racist. Let's see if, like, oh, what was her name? I should say Aussie. Aussie. I forgot her name. Gosh. Oh my God. Why have I forgotten her name? I literally saw like her thing the other day too. Like, let me just see if I can remember it. I might have sent it to my partner. Where is it? Ah, yes. Yes, I think it was this chick, wasn't it?
We got houses built because I got a deal done with your party.
It was her, right?
Those houses have made a significant difference in Tasmania, and I will pay.
Her voice is just so interesting, but wait, moment angry Jackie Lambie screams out at Australian PM. Yeah, I know, like, which one? Listen to it. Let's see the screaming.
Thank you. It has been 1,076 days since the Liberals promised us an Integrity Commission. 1,076 days. The PM
I'm not sure
told the country that
much about it,
Commission in this term of Parliament.
I just found it
Told us that
funny.
He was committed to getting it done. Another lie. That was on the 13th of December 2018. A baby born on that day that the Prime Minister promised us an Integrity Commission would now be nearly 3 years of age. That baby has gone through 3 Christmases and she's coming up to her 4th. She's learned to crawl, to stand up, to walk. She's pretty much getting ready for preschool now and she's probably learning to count. You know what? That baby's made more progress in 1,000 days than the
I couldn't remember who it was.
their own bill. That is where we're at. A 3-year-old. Shameful. Shameful.
She's so, like, loud though. Like, I feel like all of our politicians right now, it's just kind of, like, obviously, like, I do vote Labour and all that, but our politicians are just...
They're sick of you not putting up, they're sick of you not
delicious.
You do not deliver. You are finished in the next election. You're gone, I can tell you. You may want to get out there with
She was
your
right.
on and see what you're
He
elected to
was
say.
gone.
Because I'll tell you what, you finished in Tasmania. I reckon your 2 seats there are gone. They're completely gone. Absolutely, and I look forward to doing that. I look forward to running my own candidates in those seats and passing those preferences where they deserve to go. but not to political lies.
I'm not sure though. Was it her, the one that got drunk and had like this huge controversy? Maybe it wasn't. I'm gonna say MP drunk. Australia. This was a few months ago. Oh, maybe. Let me have a look. Maybe.
Early this morning,
yes, this is her.
Club in Melbourne.
You know what I say? You know what I say to you?
Jackie Lambie is not Lydia. You can see why I got confused though. So,
early this morning outside a strip club in Melbourne.
You know what I say? You know what I say to you? You know what I say to you? And you? You're a racist penis. Oh, penis. Oh.
Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe.
This is our politicians.
To celebrate her 50th birthday.
How dare you say that to her?
Are filmed arguing with a group of men.
All I want to say to the black brothers there and anyone that we're...
Because she takes liberal first preferences but has some yeah. Yeah, she is unusual. But this though...
Right? Any black man that stands with a white little
yeah.
You can all get too.
How the f does someone get in Parliament like you?
We've been oppressed all our life in this country, and you let this little dog speak.
Senator Thorpe also taking matters into her own hands.
And you are marked.
Get out of my face.
Lydia Thorpe has told 7 News that she was provoked. But the men...
She thinks she's a Lakers game. Oh my gosh.
Singled her out and began to harass her over her views on Indigenous affairs. She says it's sad people are utilising whatever they can to drag her down when we're trying to discuss important issues in this country. It's not the first time the former Greens senator has been involved in controversy. Last month, she was dragged to the floor by police during a protest outside Parliament. In February, she held up the Sydney Mardi Gras. There was this at an anti-monarchy protest in Melbourne.
The crown has blood on their head.
And her alleged relationship with a bikie boss,
politicians.
which she later denied.
What kind of person do you think I am?
Tonight, more questions will be raised, but Senator
my
Thorpe's
gosh.
position in Parliament is, for now, secure. Jennifer Beshwati, 7 News.
Like, that's our politicians in Australia. Like, you know what I mean? So let's have a look at her. Oh wait, no, let's go back. Let's go back. I saw one that's interesting. She slams the she slams him. She blasts him.
To political reporter Jeremy Frost in our Parliament House Bureau. Jeremy, the independent senator, has taken aim at the Prime Minister.
She's accused Anthony Albanese of trying to drag her down following that tirade that saw her banned for life from a Melbourne strip club. The senator came under fire after being recorded taunting and hurling abuse at a group of men. But she claims the focus should be on what she says were racists brazenly harassing a senator. The PM slammed the outburst as unacceptable, urging her to get some support, saying there are obvious issues that need to be dealt with in terms of her mental health. Senator Thorpe says those remarks are a continuation of the old racist and misogynistic narrative used to discredit and silence outspoken women. Ms Thorpe has been facing calls to resign from Parliament following a series of controversies. It was revealed she was dating a bikie boss while she was sitting on a law enforcement committee, with a review eventually finding she didn't leak any sensitive information. And she quit as Deputy Leader of the Greens over the party's position on the Indigenous voice referendum.
Imagine
now,
if this was a man.
Has a 6-year term to see out here in Canberra and insists she's here to stay. Ange?
Okay, Jeremy Frost in Canberra.
Imagine if this was like a male politician who was acting like that, you know? Like, because I feel like that was all brushed under the rug, but let's remember. Let's see if we find this. Let's just remember this situation.
The 17-year-old boy who had gained worldwide recognition after smashing an egg on Australian Senator Fraser Anning has spoken out for the first time since the incident. Will Connolly, or Egg Boy as he is now popularly known, spoke to an Australian TV news channel and said that his intentions were not politically motivated.
After that tragedy in Christchurch, I thought the world should be supporting all those victims with love, giving them love and passion. And the senator released a statement,
Egg Boy,
which was pretty much
a national hero,
speech, blaming the victims for the attack. And I was just flat out disgusted. Actually, not many people know this, but I actually went in there to listen to him for an hour, see if it changed my mind. As you know, I'm a pretty forgiving person, and in my mind, you know, I wanted to forgive him, but then he started saying some more things, which I'm not going to quote. You can watch the live stream if you want to hear that, which empowered me to egg him.
Can we see the egg?
Said that he did not expect the support he received on social media after he was filmed breaking an egg on the senator's head.
And they say American politicians.
Saying that any form of violence is not acceptable.
Interesting. Look at this.
Most admired the teenager for his courage, and some even went as far as setting up a social media page for Will to fund his legal expenses.
Like, imagine being in that situation. I wonder what the cops were saying there. Like, I don't know. Imagine if the cops were like funny about it. Anyway, I might leave it at that because I'm getting a little bit peckish. It's almost 1 p.m. So I guess I will leave this at that. Thank you guys for contributing in the conversation and coming and watching some silly Aussie politicians doing silly Aussie politician stuff. But yeah.